nerds, welcome to my channel. My name is Denise and my channel is called The Book Nerd. Again, welcome, and if you haven't already, I would appreciate it if you subscribe, and before the end of this video, make sure you like it and share it as well. But I just want to get with you and just talk about the book that I finally finished. That took me 4 months, I think from April through August, it took me to finish this book. And although I said I'm a slow reader, I'm not that slow. So I had a lot of things going on. I kind of mentioned it in my last video. We relocated, so we moved from Washington State to Georgia. And there was a lot that went into that, the house hunting process and all of that. If anybody's relocated, especially across country, if you know, you know. So it's a lot. And also, the book that I read was great. However, it is a fantasy book. It's kind of a thick book, not the thickest, but kind of thick. And that may have had a little bit to do with it as well. But this is the book that I read. It is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I wanted this book so bad. I got it for my birthday last year. I asked for it. I got it. Ecstatic that I got it. Do not regret that I got it. Do not regret one bit that I read it. This is an awesome fantasy book. If you are a fantasy fan, please read this book. The book is awesome and amazing. And I just kind of want to talk a little bit about it and just kind of share my my views on it, or my thoughts about it. Not really views, but my thoughts about it, and yeah, all of that. So let's just get started. So this book is about a character named Bree. And Bree is, let's see, sorry. So Bree lost her mother. Okay. This book is about a character named Bree, and that is our main character. And Bree recently lost her mother. And so she's now with her dad. You know, he's a single father. And Bree is in a program where she's like highly intellectual, just very smart. So she gets to go to the University of North Carolina, UNC Chapel Hill, I believe. And she gets to go when she's only 16 years old. So it's kind of some type of early start program. And so she's on this campus. And she's dealing with grief. And now she's dealing with going to stay on a college campus and being away from her father. And she kind of wanted to be away because she's going through grief, and really, you know, sometimes it's kind of hard for her to get along with her dad, just the various degrees of things that you experience when you go through grief. And so she goes to this college, and she has like this memory of her mom when her mom was dying in the hospital. And she remembered seeing like something, this police officer kind of doing something that was in the hospital room. And she saw something, and she kind of like suppressed the memory, or wasn't sure if she was really seeing things. And it felt like you know, the police officer trying to do something to her and that room, everybody in the room as a whole. Her mom died in a car accident, so it was a tragic death. And so she's kind of, you know, wondering what she saw and all of that. But anyway, so she's at this college, and she goes with her best friend, and, you know, she goes to this, I guess it's a party or something, and they're out by this, in the woods or whatever, by a cliff, and she sees kind of that same thing, you know, like this person, one of the other students, his name is Selwyn, or Sel, and he does the same thing that she saw the police officer do back when her mom was dying in the hospital. And this is when, and she's seeing this attack that's happening, an attack by some different types of beings or something, and everybody's running, but she's able to see what's happening. So that, and other people aren't seeing it, but she can see it. So it's like she's seeing some type of other realm. Anyway, fast forward, she ends up kind of getting in trouble. I can't exactly remember because it took me so long to read it. I can't remember exactly what happened, but she gets in trouble kind of at the school, and then so she's assigned like a mentor or something like that, and she gets assigned this fine man, young man named Nick or something like that, and he's assigned to her, and he's helping her with her homework or what have you. And long story short, he ends up finding out that she can see these things. And I think he helps her because she's almost about to be attacked by one of these things. And so he knows that she has these powers. And then she finds out he has these powers, I guess you would call it. And then he introduces her to this order that's a secret society on the campus. It says people that all have these different abilities. And it's really quite awesome and very intricate. So they have these, and they're fighting like these dark forces and all of that. And the big thing to this is that it comes from King Arthur. Is it Arthur? I was going to say Arthur. It comes from King Arthur. So the powers, and so they're supposed to be good. But there's even more to it. So as she's finding this out, she finds out that somehow all of this is related to her mom. She meets up with an African-American, a black woman, and another student who is black. They also have powers, but the these black women, they call it like root power or something like that, or root craft, whereas the society that she's been introduced to and trying to get into so she can find out more about what happened to her mom, they call it something else. So I forgot exactly what it was called, just magic, or it's part of, Legendborn, and there's all these words, Shadowborn, all of this. And anyway, so she starts to find out there's a tie between her mom and this society. She's trying to find out and get, like, not revenge, but closure on what happened with her mom. And if so, if she needs to out anybody or get anybody, I think she was ready to do that if they did something to her mom. So she kind of finds out about the society. The guy, Nick, her and him kind of develop a relationship. And then there's a complicated relationship with Selwyn, he's a Merlin, I believe, and a Merlin is kind of like, there's a little bad in him, but there's also, he does good, and he's supposed to protect Nick, who is going to be the next king. So it's just a lot. The story building is huge, I'm just going to tell you, but it is good, and it's pretty action-packed. So if you, again, like fantasy, it's going to keep your attention because it is an action-packed book. There is great representation in this book. So, of course, Bree is a black or African-American woman. Her best friend is, I believe, Asian. Now, they do a great job of having Bree go to this college where she is like, there's not that many other black students. And when she's becoming part of this society, she is the only black person in it. And so it does deal with things like racism. And it does a good job with that. And just, trying to deal with, I have a right to be in this space just like you do. But still having to deal with the microaggressions and sometimes just outright racist things that are said. And people not wanting you to be in there. And Nick is not like that. In fact, at one time, before Bree came along, he had kind of removed himself from it. He didn't even want to be a part of this. And his father is a part of this, and it gets really good. And I'm giving away a lot, but I still don't want to give all of it away, even in this discussion. So it deals with that. It also deals with the fact that some of this power was kind of stolen. So we kind of see, that history, our real history entwined in this, how black people have this power as well, and maybe, sometimes the white people kind of infringed upon that. So you see that, so you see a lot of that history and racism that plays a part in this. You even see maybe a little bit of sexism in it, but they do a pretty good job of making the women in the group and the society very capable. So they're very capable, but still, there's just some nuances in here that you see that just tells you how our society is. So it does a good job of comparing this fantasy to real life. Again, the relationships are highly complicated. So we have Nick and Bree, and they're just drawn together, and they make a great couple. This is an interracial couple. So Nick is white and Bree is black. And so we deal with that, not even just her being in a society that's mostly or all white, but just being in a society and she's dating or kind of together with the person that's going to be king that is also white. How does that look? And so, we have this interracial couple, and we just have them, becoming closer. There's a lot of miscommunication or misunderstandings, or maybe Nick is seeing some things and Bree, that they don't want to see because she has a very conflict type relationship with Selwyn, but yet there seems to be something else brewing there. All in all, great book. And it just goes and goes. There's some twist in it. And by the end, it's just this explosion of stuff happening. And then it kind of leaves you, because this is part of a series. So it kind of leaves you with, okay, what's going to happen next? What is going to become of Nick and Bree? What is going to become of Bree and Selwyn? What is Bree going to do with her as she looks at her history, and then, possibly, or whatever, being a part of this society? I'm really trying not to tell everything and all of that. So great book. It's about medium pace. Some parts get very fast paced. There are some gruesome scenes in it. Trigger warnings. It talks about death and grief. So if that's something that you're sensitive to, you want to be aware of that. And just a great fantasy book, great world building again. And if you're into that, because in the back, towards the back, it has all this lineage or people assigned to who in this order, the round table of bloodlines. So it has that in the book. And if you are into that, this is for you. Great book. Again, I enjoyed it. But what I did discover as I was reading this book is that I'm not a fantasy person. So although the book was absolutely great, I highly recommend it, and I did enjoy it, and there's a part of me that kind of wants to continue with the series, there's a part of me that just does not have the strength to do it. Okay, so I wanted to give another fantasy book a chance. I never was really into fantasy, and I thought I was into fantasy because I started reading Harry Potter, because everybody was like, Denise, no, you're going to love Harry Potter. I read the Harry Potter series, absolutely love it. So I'm a Harry Potter fan. So I thought, well, maybe I do like fantasy. So I wanted to definitely give this Black author a try. And I definitely wanted to give this book a try. I mean, look at the cover alone. It's absolutely beautiful. So I thought, here's another series, a fantasy series I can get into. I think that I can watch fantasy on TV, but to read it, other than Harry Potter, I just like the story of Harry Potter. Plus, it's more kiddie. But anyway, so I wanted to give it a try, and it was just very hard for me to read, because reading fantasy is just not for me. It does not seem. Now, there is a possibility that I will get the next book. Because now the author did a great job. I want to know what's going to happen, but what I'm hoping will happen is there will be a movie that comes out and I can watch it. Because again, I was exhausted. It was just a lot for me as being a person that's not a fantasy person. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. This is a absolutely great book. And for me to even read it and give it this much praise, being that I really discovered that I'm not a fantasy person, to me really says something. Not that my word means that much, but just it says something about the book. Awesome book. I highly recommend it. And yeah, and you know, I think for us readers, it's just something we have to come to the conclusion of. I think it's important for us to try and come out of our comfort zone and try to read other books. And sometimes we discover, yes, I do like different books. And this is academic. I love it. And I love the academic setting of this. Absolutely love the college campus, the way they described it. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, like awesome. So I think that we, you know, need to try different books and give, you know, just give them a shot. And if it's for nothing else, then we can tell other people that we know like fantasy or like romance or like thrillers, this is a book that you want to read, so that I can, you know, we can highly recommend that. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day. Be blessed and be book nerdy.